I'm Mike Sheridan and you're welcome to The Delve. Christy Dignam has been a mainstay in the Irish music scene for over 35 years. He has had multiple hit singles and albums with the band he fronts, Aslan. And the lads embark on a new tour very soon, including 2 nights in the Ivy Gardens in July, one of which is already sold out. The new single is called Now I Know and the video is an absolute belter. Christy, thanks so much for joining us in studio. I want to talk about the latest single, first of all, Now I Know,
Right.
because it's a gorgeous video.
Yeah.
And it's quite retrospective as well. So
Yeah.
it goes back to all the older performances in the 80s and in the 90s and stuff like that as well. And it's a cracking single too. And I know you had Philip McGee produce this single too,
Yes.
work with Codeline and stuff like that. Where did the idea for the video come about? Did it come via the lyrics?
Yes, it's kind of, because the song is kind of about, it is about that. It's about looking back, and, when you get to a certain stage in your life, you start realising what kind of life is about and what's important in life, and especially with my kind of medical situation and all that, it brings home, it focuses on what's important in life. So it was kind of about all that,
Yeah.
And it was just because a lot of people were listening to the song, and they didn't really get it until they seen the video, and it kind of gave them that perspective of it. But I tend not to like saying what a song is about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because everybody has their own interpretation of a song, I was just talking to about that. I'll give you an example of what we have this song called Please Don't Stop, right? So the lyrics of the song are, I'm stumbling down the street, I'm out of place, the street is life, I'm stumbling through life. I'm an angry man, a voice without a face, so you're angry. When you're young and you're kind of angry about whatever you're seeing, injustices you're seeing in life, but you've no say in what's going on and stuff. So you're an angry man, help me up, I'll try not to fall down. So you're asking somebody to help you through this kind of. So this guy saying it, she says, I love that song, Please Don't Stop, because I'd be locked with me mates and I'm falling down on the street and they're picking me up. And I was going to go, no, that's not what the song's about at all, And then I thought, no, maybe it is.
Leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely, so.
And what are you thinking now? Because obviously there's elements of the video that are shot around Dublin City Centre, around the boardwalk and stuff there, just off Liffey Street, and then it goes, obviously again, it goes back. What are you been directed there and about what you're thinking about? Because you look pensive, you're just kind of there smoking.
No, see that, what happened was I did a documentary about a year ago, and we had a lot of footage on it that we didn't use, So when I was looking at this footage, I thought some of it would be kind of relevant to the video, so we put it in because we wanted to get something that was a little bit stark compared to the older footage that you'd seen when we were younger and full of beans and all that. So, again, as I said, it's just you do be pensive when certain things happen to you in your life.
Yeah. Well, how does it feel looking back at the gigs? Because obviously, we're going to talk about the tour in a little bit as well. I've given some of the dates at the top there, and you've sold out Ivy Gardens, and you're going to do another night in Ivy Gardens. So the band's still very much going strong. But how does it look looking back at those performances on stage?
It's weird, because you kind of don't see. Because you get old in increments, you don't really see that thing happening. And it's only when you're looking at yourself like that way you see something that happened 20 years ago or something that you kind of think. So it's a bit weird, and it's kind of there's a certain sadness about looking at it. We wanted to get that into the song, that kind of, the sadness of kind of leaving all this kind of thing behind you. And I've always felt, and I'm sure the whole band are the same, that as soon as we went relevant, that we felt we weren't relevant, we'd stop. Because I'd hate people to be thinking, Jesus, did they not know this thing is over? Stop flogging a dead horse, But as long as we can, as long as people keep coming to gigs.
Yeah.
The Ivy Gardens, you were talking about the 2 Ivy Gardens. The first one we were only going to do one, and it sold out like that, So.
That must be a really nice feeling.
It's lovely.
When something still goes that quickly, because I know
absolutely.
The kind of late 90s and stuff, you would have, and like noughties should appear, you one of them, like you were kind of a mainstay in the Old Point Theatre, which was a deadly venue. You would kind of come back.
Yeah. You see, fame is a weird thing. Fame is like that. I don't like using the word fame, but that popularity thing, because. You have a single out and your song's getting played on the radio, say Crazy was getting played on the radio, and you're invited to the opening of every envelope in Ireland, And as according to your radio plays diminish, the invitations diminish in direct proportion to that, you know. And then you're not famous for a while, and then you release another single, you're famous again. And what's happening to us now is, with this single in particular, there's people, you know, where we're kind of going to DJs and saying, look at this, a new single. Love the single, great song, can't play it. It doesn't, because it's not suiting their demographic, and you know, you've got that edge here, and like a lot of the singers today, I find a lot of the male singers, they sing kind of like girls, you know.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the popular thing now. So unless you're singing like a girl, you won't play the music.
But you've got a really kind of popular, you know, young
matter.
producer in Philip McGee. You work with
Doesn't
Codeline,
matter.
work with all these guys.
It doesn't
No.
matter. They don't care. Like that's what I'm saying. It's not about the music anymore. You know, it's about them selling. You know yourself. You're in this business. Do you know what I mean? So it's not about music, and it's astounding to think that, you know, and these are genuinely liking the song. You know.
Yeah.
But that producers won't let them play it or whatever. So.
Well, I mean, I just had a quick brief through some of the YouTube views there earlier on. Look, for the Late Late Show performance with Finbar Fury, that's at nearly 4 million views. Small. Crazy World is at 1.6. This is just single videos. There's plenty more.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah,
There's plenty more variations of it. Like some of the Vicar Street, some of the songs at Vicar Street, I think was from '99 that gig.
Yeah.
This is 623,000 views. So. That says to me that you're more than still relevant, that you're still popular, and it says as well that audience must be a little bit younger as well. It's not
absolutely
the same audience.
Listen. There's not my generation. Don't go to gigs anymore. Really, the majority of them. The majority of them are married. I mean, I have grandchildren, so we're at that age. We have, you know, we're married, we're settled, and you know, well, I'm not, but my contemporaries are. So if we were to rely on that, you couldn't live, you couldn't survive. So the only reason we're able to keep going is because the younger people have followed us, you know. So, but you know, it's just these people. I mean, you know, they're running the world, we're not, you know.
I want to talk about Crazy World there for a second as well, because I mean, that was one of the most played songs on Irish radio. You're talking about songs that were played on Irish radio, and I'm 36 now, so that early mid-90s.
That's when that was released.
Yeah, my formative years, and it was kind of like a mainstay. And it's funny when you listen back to it now, it's one of those songs, as are a few of Aslan's songs, that just bring back those real visceral memories.
Yeah,
Is it the same for you?
Absolutely. You know, I hear songs. To me, certain songs are like a soundtrack to that period of your life. You know, and you know when you hear a certain song, like we heard "Born to Run" there on the way in, the Bruce Springsteen song, and. You know, it kind of brings you can nearly taste the burger you were eating the day you heard that, you know what I mean, and sort of thing. And that's the beauty, that's what I love about music. So to be able to, for your songs to be that for somebody else, it's an amazing feeling. And, you know, I've always, like we look at certain bands in this country that would be hugely successful and have made loads of money. I won't say who they are, you know, say boy bands or something like that, you know. So they're all multi-millionaires, you know, and we're not, absolutely not, you know, we're a working band. And there is I sometimes look and think there's a slight injustice in that, but the way I kind of help myself get over that little hump is that when I go to my grave, I've produced something that mattered, do you know what I mean?
A legacy.
And and that to me is more important, because today it doesn't matter that Boyzone, let's say, for example, it doesn't matter that they have had 10 number ones. You know, you say, well, what song is going down in the Irish psyche from Boyzone or one of these bands, you know? And it's not really there. So the millions and millions of pounds don't matter. All the girls that love them doesn't matter. The sports cars don't matter. You know, it's just about the music. And when we started, that's all we done it for. We never got into this for the chicks kind of thing, you know. We got into it because we wanted to we used to listen to, you know, years ago, even before your time, you'd hear the radio would be playing a few songs, and you'd play, say, 3 songs in a row, and you'd know the Irish song because the production value would drop like this, you know. So the middle song is the Irish song without the DJ saying nothing, you know. And we wanted to try and change that, you know, so that Irish songs were just as good as anybody else. If you were played beside a Bowie song or a Queen song at that time, you know, there wouldn't be a drop in production values. And I think we've absolutely achieved that, you know. And as you said, the songs, we've a couple of songs that will probably be remembered. It was just it's a very nice feeling to have that, you know.
And the music industry is in kind of a strange place at the moment, and that nobody's really selling records anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of Spotify now. Or
Well,
YouTube.
the reason that is, I'll tell you the reason that is, we did an album, not the last album, but the album just prior to that, and it cost us about 100. We paid for everything ourselves. So what we do is we'll go out and do a load of gigs, save up money, go into the studio, record the album, and then next gigs that they generate will pay for that album. But the album cost, we say, 140 grand to record. So we recorded the album and put it out, and in the first 2 weeks, we sold 40,000 euros worth of albums, and there was 250,000 downloaded illegally. So you can't make money out of records. Another thing, on Spotify, we had on Crazy World, just talking about Crazy World, on 90,000 downloads of Crazy World. How much would you say we would have got for that?
Very little, I would say.
16 euros. 16 euros for 90,000 downloads. So that'll give it an idea.
So you were saying Aslan are like you're a job band for want of a better phrase.
So,
but it's not our every band now because nobody can live on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you said about the music industry. That's the point I'm making. You've only got the top 5%, the kind of U2s and the Taylor Swifts. They're making money in records. Do you know what I mean? The Coldplays and stuff like that. But anybody else is making records so people will come to see the gigs, and that's where they're hopefully making their money, you know.
And how's the relationship between everybody in the band now and all of that stuff? Because it was 1982 you guys kind of formed, and there's been many incarnations over the years, as anything is over 36 years.
Well, we've only got one change in the 36 years. There's only the bass player has changed, and that's it. He changed about 11 years ago. He went to Australia, and we got a new bass player, but everybody else is the same as it was back then. But we get on really well. I've always said the hardest thing about a band, keeping a band together, is not really the writing the songs, it's just tolerating each other, you know. Because you could have something like just doing that, with your nail. And if you're sitting in a car for 6 hours on the way to Donegal, or if you're going across Germany or something like that, and somebody's behind you doing that,
it's like they're married to like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worse. I have to be with the band more than I'm with my family, with my wife and them, you know. So you have to be able to tolerate everybody's little idiosyncrasies and stuff like that. Otherwise, it'll never work. So we get on really well still, you know.
Yeah, and you need to be very much a unit because, like I said, you're performing all the time. And you all need to be kind of on the same level.
You need people to have your back, you know. Like, for example, you know, I wouldn't have the energy now with the cancer and all that. I wouldn't have the same energy that we used to have in a gig. So there are parts of the gig where you kind of have to pull back, you know, to just catch your breath kind of thing. And Billy will run out front and take over from me for a few minutes to let me kind of get my breath. And you kind of do that now I don't have to say to Billy, right, Billy, on the 15th song, you run out there because I'm going to pull back. It's all kind of.
And what's that adrenaline? You mentioned your health there. What's it like with the adrenaline from being on stage and that? Because that's up and down adrenaline when you're.
But that's the thing. That's what's probably killed me, because you'd be in bits on stage. You're in bits before the gig, right? Then the adrenaline hits you, and that's getting you through the gig. And like before the gig, I'll say, right, listen, we better not do this song and this song. You know, if they're really kind of up tempo songs, and they're near the end of the gig, I'll say, right, we'll drop that song and that song, and then you're doing the gig. And when it comes to those songs, where those songs were going to be, you turn it, listen, we'll do them we actually will, because the adrenaline, you're full of adrenaline now, you know. And that could be dangerous, because you're running on adrenaline, and the energy is not really there, you know. So you could hurt yourself doing that sort of stuff.
And it's funny, it's funny, it's just looking back at the videos and stuff over different performances and stuff on YouTube, and to see that passion in the audience. You kind of talked about how diverse that audience is, and how young that audience is as well. That has to be the bar, and that has to be the best feeling in the world. Being on stage, I can only imagine what it's like. I've never.
It's amazing.
It's
amazing. You know, when we did the Ivy Gardens last year, you know, at one point I got everybody to turn on. Just as the kind of night it got dark, I got them all to put their the lights on their phones. You know, so you kind of had 4,000 people with their lights on, kind of looking at the stage, and I had a bloke behind me, and I said, quick, take a photograph of that, you know. It's amazing feeling. Now, when you get people singing back the songs, when you're playing a song, and you kind of stop or whatever, and you get the audience to sing it, when you hear that coming back at you, it's amazing.
Do you remember the first time that happened?
Yes. We played a gig years ago, the first single we released a song called This Is. So we released it here, and it was kind of picked up, and all the radio stations were playing it. But people, as you're starting to get a bit of, I hate to use the word famous, but let's just use that word for the want of a better word. So that's kind of, you're kind of getting popular, you know. But you don't kind of see it because you're kind of living your life. Yeah. You're too close to the whole thing. So we went down to Cork to do a gig, and we were kind of the opening act on this. There was 4 bands playing this RTE festival at the time it was, and we were the opening band, and we came out and we started playing This Is, and the place, there was about 15,000 people there, and they started singing the song back to us, the chorus of it. Jesus, amazing.
That must be the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, but you know, it's a bit weird. You know, now that we've kind of gone around different places, when you go to somewhere like Germany or France or something like that, and that happens, and they're saying, how can I protect you in this class? And that's just coming back at you in the accent. It's great.
Because you guys have toured around, you know, the people
still
that quintessential Irish band, and there's lots of successful quintessential Irish bands as well.
And you couldn't do it with just Ireland. You wouldn't survive. So you have to, and because Irish people have little populations everywhere, how it usually works is, you'll go to, we say, Germany first, and initially you'll be playing small little clubs, and Irish kind of expats will be over there, you know, and they'll come to the gig and probably bring 1 or 2 locals with them.
Yeah.
And then the next time you'll come, there'll be kind of, instead of 2 locals, there'll be 6 locals with them, and you build it up that way. And that's how we've done it in Australia. When we went over first, it was just mostly Irish people were playing. And then the second or third time we were there, you wouldn't even see the Irish. Well, obviously a few Irish flags. Yeah. But the majority, it'd be local people, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously hard work is a huge part to do with success as well as talent. But do you know any of those guys that were in bands that were just blew you away talent-wise, but just never got that opportunity, or never did?
Loads.
It just never fell right for
Absolutely
them.
Loads. You know, people to say to us, you know, oh, you should have been this, or you should have been that. You know, you should have achieved. You know, and you know, the way I look at it is, we're a band that we make a living doing what we do. We make a nice living doing what we do. We see the world, we travel the world, and it's a great life. You know, it's a great. I'll just give you an example. I used to work in Player Wills years ago, and at the time they used to have this thing called a slitter, right? And basically, you imagine a conveyor belt, right? So you pour all these cigarettes into, they're all old cigarettes that wouldn't have sold, right, by their sell date. You pour them into one end of this machine, and it slits the cigarettes, and all the tobacco comes out onto a conveyor belt. And my job was to take all the paper out, so like this, right? Now, I'd be going home on the bus, and somebody would drop a bus ticket, and I'd be fucking grabbing it, you know.
That nearly happened here a second ago with a camera.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So you know, going from that, and then I worked on the St. Patrick, going from Rosslare to the Harve, and a lot of young kids and school kids would be going on tours and stuff, and they'd be puking all over the place, and my job was going around with a bucket and mop after them. So being in the band is easy, you know.
Yeah, you've got the gauge for success there, where you're like, I went and did something else. And I think that's something when you see younger bands, or even actors or musicians, whatever it is, when they find success super young, they don't really have that context.
No, yeah,
to know what it's like to have them work for a living previously. Absolutely. Or in a real job.
And then when they're hit with a bit of adversity, they don't know how to handle it, and it usually cracks the band and kills the band. But because we'd worked a long time before we had any success at all. So, you know, when we all gave up our jobs and went kind of into the band full time. So when little things happened, there was no point in us splitting up, because there was nothing to go back to. It was not as if we could go back to our solicitor's job or our, you know. So we just kept going, and you definitely need to be gigging around. That's what I don't like about this X Factor thing and all that, because these kids are coming in, they've no experience in the business. They don't know anything about their craft, because it's a craft like being a carpenter, or like being a mechanic, or an electrician, or electronics engineer. Being in a band is the same thing. You're learning a craft. So these kids are coming, they're totally obscure, they're unknown. Within a six-week period, they're household names. And then that ship sails on, and they're left, and they're trying to continue their careers. as famous people. Do you know what I mean? Without any of that experience, and it's just that's why it doesn't last.
I think a lot of the time what happens now as well is I think these kids they get really famous, but they're not making a huge amount of money. So they have the fame, and people assume you're rich on the back of that, but they're not. They've just been on the TV a lot or whatever it is.
Well, that's it. You know, people think you go on the Late Late Show and you get £1 million for it. You know.
You don't know.
I'd love to tell you how much you get, but I can't. I'll never get on the Late Late Show again. And
your own daughter as well. She's a singer as well. She's got a fantastic voice.
She's just gigs and gigs. You know, she's a lovely singer. Yeah. But you know that'll tell you how hard. I mean, she's got a really really good voice, and that they're kind of struggling, just trying to keep going. But that's what it's about. Like she doesn't want me kind of. She was even going to change her name because
she want to dine out on your name.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, it kind of works against her more than it helps her, you know, because people are, she's only there because she's Christy Dignam's daughter, you know, and it's been working against her really in her kind of with her band. So sometimes that can be a cross to bear, you know.
So in terms, I know you mentioned Springsteen there and listening to Born to Run there earlier on. Who kind of inspired you, and is there any gigs you still go to, or who do you lads as a band still listen to?
Well, my main, probably the main influence on the band would have been probably Bowie, I think, back in the day, you know, because, I mean, Bowie is Bowie.
Seminal, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, sure he influences everybody, but you know that would have been Bob Dylan, Pink Floyd, that kind of thing would have been who we were listening to back then. But I like because we're continually gigging. We're continually seeing new music kind of being born, and it's great, you know, because like Billy's son now is playing with us in the Ivy Gardens, a band called The Valves. So you're seeing all this young music coming up, you know. There's a band, this woman rang me a while ago, and she said, listen, she says, my son is a great band, and they're just not getting they're not getting any breaks kind of thing. Is there anything you could do to help them? She says, and they're really brilliant, you know. And I said, listen, miss, I said, I'm no offence or anything. I said, I used to have a singing school before I got sick. I said, women would ring me and they'd say, listen, I have a son or a daughter. And when they sing, it's like angels jumping out of their mouth. They're just the best singer you ever heard. And so I'd organise an audition for Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and I'd be sitting, can't wait for Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And this kid would come in and they'd be the worst singer you ever heard in your life, you know. So it's the love of the mother here. She's not hearing what everybody else is hearing, you know. So I was saying this to this woman. I saying, listen, you know, no offence or anything, but you are their mother, you know. They're probably crap, but I says, I'll give them a listen, you know. But anyway, she sent me a CD, and they went to the band called Vinci. I don't know if you've heard, but they're brilliant.
They're opening for you guys.
But that's how they got the opening. The minute I heard, and Billy looks after all the supports for gigs. So I rang Billy. I says, Billy, don't give the Ivy Gardens gig away, the second one, because the son was doing one of them. So I said, the other Ivy Gardens, don't give it to anybody. I said, I have this band. I says, I'll send you a link to their song. I said, have a listen to them. They're brilliant. And they're really, really good. You just remember them. But so as the point I'm making, we're seeing all this kind of new music being born, and it's a great vibe.
Yeah. And it's nice as well to be able, I suppose, to give the younger bands a bit more of it.
Damien Dempsey, we gave him his first gig here. He played for us in the Point, right? Supported us in the Point. Gavin James, we played a gig. It was in this GAA place in Cabra. He gave him a spot. It was his first gig. Damien Rice played us in the Rose of Tralee down in Kerry. So we've always kind of looked out for people, you know, and trying to give them and any of them will tell you that, you know, that we were kind of their first kind of big gig, you know. So I love doing that. It's great.
And who in the Irish scene would you respect at the moment, apart from like the younger bands kind of coming up?
Well, as I said, this band Vinci are brilliant. Who else? Well, you know, I like, you know, Mike Morrow and people like that.
He's got an incredible voice, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's lovely voice, yeah. Bit of a sickener, it's that good. So his voice is too good.
You don't expect him to be Irish at all, like when you see him then. Yeah.
That's good. And that's what I like. When you hear something that sounds international, it doesn't sound...
kind of soulful voice.
Yeah. Now, there's nothing wrong with sounding Irish. I've no problem with being Irish, you know. But I don't like it being determined as Irish because the quality is so bad. Do you know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with having a bit of Irishness in it. But he, as you said, people, I'm always listening to bands and say, the next time I'm asked that question, I'll say this band. And now do you say I can't think of anybody.
You have to get the Shazam out whenever you hear them coming on the radio or whatever it is.
But there are some great bands coming up now. I just can't think of one at the moment.
Okay, so I think we'll leave it there. So I'll give it you're in Thomastown in Kilkenny on the 22nd of June. The Feast Festival in Liverpool on July 7th. Ivy Gardens, one of those nights is sold out, the 13th and the 21st. The 21st is sold out.
Yes.
Is it, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, we're doing the second one.
The second one on the 13th.
The second one is before the first one.
Yeah,
so
yeah. But
we couldn't get one after the first one.
That's just the way I have to work. I'm sure people will be delighted to see it again anyway. And then you're in the Forum in Waterford on July 28th, August 11th, the Revival Festival in Listowel, and then you're up in Drogheda on August 17th. Billy's home turf.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Gone.
Look at this.
Gone, yeah.
Whitey's even here. Whitey's even listed here. Don't even need to be here.
I know, yeah.
Christy, thanks Mil for
Listen,
coming
thank
in.
you. Cheers,
Appreciate it.